So it's pink salmon season here in Squamish, and I just wanted to share one of my favorite patterns. It's super easy to tie. You can crank out a dozen in about an hour if you're fast, and they work really, really well for these fish. So here you go. This is the material that you're going to need. Palmered chenille, medium, not small. Medium is important. Fluorescent pink. The thread I use is the UTC Fluorescent Fire Orange 70, if you can see that there. Good stuff. I use it in most of my flies, actually. I've got a 3.3 millimeter tungsten bead gold on this Hanak 260 BL. So that's this guy right here, and this is actually a size 8. So that is this one. You can also tie it on a size 10 depending on how many fish are around. I like to go a little bit smaller so you're not snagging fish. The good thing about these hooks is they're also a heavy wire hook, but they'll bend out if you snag a fish by mistake, which is very important because when there's so many fish around, that can happen. And you just pull the hook out, it'll bend out, and you can straighten back out if you want to do that, or just swap your fly out, but just quickly let that unintentional fish get away with as little harm as possible. So here we go. I'm gonna take my thread. I've already got this in the vise. I'm gonna spin the thread down, put a layer of thread onto the hook. And I go right down to the hook point or slightly after. Trim that thread off. Take my material out. Now I usually take about how many I'm going to tie, which is not much more than about that much. You can see it's on one side. It's very important that you buy the material that is on one side of the thread or the rope. Then I just take it and leave a little bit of material off the end and put that onto the hook. This is not going to be super important. I'm going to go over it a few times to anchor it in there and then up to the top of the fly. Then you're going to make sure that you pull back on the material so that it lays on the hook nicely, wrapping back up the hook shank. This one's going to be quite bulky because the water is quite dirty right now, but as the season goes on and the water clears, I'll only put 2 or 3 wraps versus 6 or 7. And then I'm going to tie it off with 1, 2 turns behind the material, 1, 2 in front, snip it off. You can glue it. I don't usually do that with these flies. I'll just do 2 whip finishes, 4 or so turns, and snip that off. And that's your fly. All the magic you need for these fish. Again, small hooks when there's a lot of fish around, slightly larger if there's not that many around. If the water's dirty, a little bit more material on the hook. If it's clear, I would probably only put 2 or 3 turns on the hook and the fly works magic. And that's the fly right there. Have fun out there.